Drake just replied to Kendrick Lamar and released another diss track. This time, the track is divided into 3 sections, with the main target obviously being Kendrick Lamar, but he also takes aim at The Weeknd, at ASAP Rocky, and Rick Ross. And I mean, let's just talk about it. Drop a 50 bag for just for reference, it's only been about 15 hours since Kendrick Lamar dropped 16 in LA. In fact, I don't even think every reaction YouTuber has gotten out their reactions yet. But I'll tell you what, Drake is back at it. He posted on his IG earlier talking about mirror time Crody. And honestly, I didn't even think about what it could mean at first. But now I realize that he was talking about Kendrick Lamar. He was telling Kendrick Lamar, hey, I'm about to make you look in the mirror. And that's exactly what he did. Now, I should mention, this track was probably recorded before today, because there is no mention of 16, but still, the optics look good for Drake. And honestly, this is not over by a long shot, and it's about to get worse. But before we explain why it's about to get really bad, we need to go back to Euphoria. So as of recording this, I've been informed that there's a second Kendrick Lamar diss track that dropped, and I just want to say that I will get to that in another video. But for now, we're just gonna pretend like it didn't happen, and we're gonna proceed with Drake as if he's the only guy that dropped tonight. But I gotta say, I can only imagine what Kendrick Lamar has up his sleeve, because Drake takes it pretty personal on this track. And if you're wondering why it's called Family Matters, well, let's talk about Kendrick Lamar. And as a matter of fact, let's talk about his most hated album. Let's talk about Mr. Morale. While apparently a lot of hip-hop fans hate the album, I still think it's pretty decent. But when Drake heard Mr. Morale, he was taking notes. You see, the reason why hip-hop artists are afraid to be vulnerable is because being vulnerable doesn't pay off. Especially if you're someone like Kendrick with an ego like Kendrick's. Being vulnerable is basically a simile for giving ammo. And ammo is exactly what Drake uses against Kendrick, because Kendrick Lamar has been looked at as the savior of hip-hop. A big theme of To Pimp a Butterfly was about being black and the black experience. And Drake questions the morality of Mr. Morale, pointing out that his wife is not only missed just as Drake is, but that Kendrick Lamar cheated on said wife with a white woman back in 2013, something that Kendrick admits to on the album Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Of course, he says this to make Kendrick look bad, but it makes him look bad with a purpose. Firstly, who is Kendrick Lamar to judge whether or not Drake can or can't say the N-word? I mean, sure, he might be an activist and his song might be powerful in terms of the black movement and the Black Lives Matter movement, but what we have is an unfaithful man, something more similar to Drake than you maybe expect. And then he throws that infidelity right back at Kendrick by implying that one of his kids is not actually his and it's actually Dave Freeze, which is Kendrick Lamar's manager, by the way. Then he makes a reference to Rich Baby Daddy, which, you know, I like the song, but right now it's not the time for jokes, Drake. So I'm kind of happy that the beat switched. And this is when Drake really turns up, because this is the part that isn't just directed at Kendrick. This is directed at Ross. This is directed at The Weeknd. This is directed at Future. Drake does his thing, bro. But let's start with Ross, because he goes at Rick Ross saying, hey, yo, you're using that Ozempic, bro, which I like because it's kind of a play on the whole Drake has abs fiasco that has been going on. Then he goes at The Weeknd, saying that The Weeknd only gets played where there's a high gay population, which is not true. Like, come on, bro, come on, let's get away with lies, but good lies, all right? And then he focuses on ASAP Rocky. In case you were wondering, and in case you don't know, Drake was not dissing Rakim as in the rapper from the 80s. Rakim is the real name of ASAP Rocky. Just thought I would clarify, because I know someone out there probably thought that. That's because Rocky did make some disses towards Drake, talking about he hit it first in terms of Drake's baby mama. But Drake throws it right back at him by saying, well, make the math, man. Who was hitting your baby mama first? And now that I think about it, I should probably not say hitting. Having sexual relationships would be better, because hitting women will be a topic discussed later in the video. Then he turns his direction right back at Future, saying, hey bro, you had to drop 2 albums to get a hit on me? Yeah, like, let's stop it, man. Let's stop it. I ain't even listened to it for real before neatly wrapping up and talking about Kendrick Lamar again. More specifically, how Baby Keem is ghostwriting for him. Now, these are some allegations that date back to like 2019, 2018, when people were starting to allege that the guy behind Kendrick Lamar was actually Baby Keem. This has been disproven because mainly it seems like Kendrick Lamar is actually the ghostwriter for Baby Keem, but I don't care because Baby Keem is still fire. So like, hey man, as long as the family's winning, I guess I'm winning because the songs are fire. It's time for the third switch, so let's talk about it. Now, my personal theory is that Drake is trying to get this song to #1. I can't back it up, but there's a reason why he dropped it on a Thursday. Especially because it seems like most of the track was recorded before Kendrick Lamar dropped the second diss record. But let's talk about it. Because in the third verse, he just opens up with dismissing every Grammy that Kendrick Lamar has by basically saying all Kendrick has to do is open his mouth and people want to dick ride him and they give him a Grammy and whatnot. Then he goes at his dad for not being at home, kind of like Kendrick went at Drake for not being a dad. Then he goes at Pharrell, kind of, which is crazy because like what does Pharrell be doing behind the scenes for Drake to have this much smoke for Pharrell? Then he dismisses the fact that Kendrick Lamar said that Drake sent a cease and desist for like that. And he says, I didn't do that, but you called up Tupac's estate. Now, this is a lie versus a lie, clearly. But, you know, it's hip-hop beef. That's kind of like what happens always. And he implies that Kendrick got robbed by Stunna and Wayne. But I don't really care about that, to be honest. If you get robbed, you get robbed. You know what I mean? Anyways, so he brings it back to the 20B1. And then he says, we already know why you went #1. It's clearly because of the boy. The honorable thing is to give me the loot. You write about the... I don't know about this one. You write about fuck the big three. It's only Big D and it's video proof. Boo! Boo! Boo Drake. Like, I get it. I get it. But, you know, I don't want to think about Drake's dick, y'all. And I haven't seen the video proof because... Then again, he goes at Kendrick Lamar for the infidelity thing and whatever. And then he says something interesting because he goes, oh shit, it's all making sense. Maybe I'm Prince and you actually might. And I find this interesting because I never thought in a rap beef people would be arguing over, I'm Prince and you're Michael Jackson. No, I'm Prince and you're Michael Jackson. I thought people would just want to be Michael Jackson, to be honest. The way hip hop treats Michael Jackson, at least, this is surprising to me. And then lastly, the bombshell for Drake. He says that Kendrick beats his wife. Now, here's the thing. I think this is like an substantiated, whatever the fuck. I mean, the rumor is not true, but you know, it's hip hop beef. And honestly, as of right now, as of not listening to the Kendrick Lamar diss track yet, I'd say it's pretty even. I've managed to be pretty unbiased throughout this all, and I think Drake put up a pretty good response. It's 3 beat switches, which, you know, alludes to Kendrick Lamar. And it's 7 minutes, man. Bohemian Rhapsody diss beef. I honestly cannot complain. But with that being said, I wanna shout out Jay Dilla. But I wanna shout out Kendrick and Cole, bro, because this is doing great things for my channel. Hopefully you guys are sticking around. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're just here for Big 3 content. But, you know, as long as they keep dropping, I'm going to keep dropping. Until I drop, because this is like my 4th night without sleeping. But, you know, fuck it. Fuck it. We doing it for the love of the game anyways. So, yeah. Shout out to me. Shout out to guys. Shout out to y'all. And I'm going to let the outro roll. So, yeah.